Emergence means that it comes into play at higher levels of organization. So if we go down to molecular physics, there's no self. Actually, there's not much psychology at all. There's no love, hate, cooperation, competition, groups, nationalities. You don't really find a molecule is a molecule. Uh, and even, life, a water molecule, whether it's part of your a body, part of a living thing or not, it's the same molecule. It's belonging to a larger organized system that becomes important. And so the self emerges only at the higher levels. Some years ago, a manuscript I wrote, I got a comment in an anonymous review, and I don't know who it was because it was anonymous, but it was profound. And he said, consider which disciplines believe in the self and which are skeptical. So neuroscience and cognitive psychology are very skeptical about the self, but they mainly deal with very narrow subroutines, little inner processes, one mental thing at a time. In contrast, fields that deal with macro social systems like sociology and economics, the self is indispensable. I mean, why would you have an economic system buying and selling if you can't own something? And ownership requires a self. It's a relationship between a self and an item. So somewhere between the low level of the brain and the high level of the marketplace, selves come into being. And that, that is, I think, a basic and solid scientific fact. New causes come into play at higher levels of organization. So my thought, the self is not a thing. It's not a piece of the brain. Rather, it's something the brain does. The brain evolves to operate a role in the social system. It was natural selection that made all creatures figure out how to survive and reproduce. And humans do it by creating these advanced social systems. But they require selves to have continuous identities over time. These people who say the self doesn't exist, sometimes I want to tell them, okay, well, the next time you have to take an airplane flight, don't take any identification. Just go and explain to them that selves are illusions and there's really no such thing, so they should just let you have a seat on the airplane and see how far you get. And I think I said I noticed that they all sign their names to their books and papers claiming there is no self. So it seems a bit hypocritical for them to deny the reality of something and then yet make use of it. Now, if all they mean by that it's an illusion, that it's different from what it seems, well, yes, self-knowledge is often mistaken. There's self-deception, there's incomplete knowledge of self too. Unconscious processes, by definition, we're not aware of what goes on in our unconscious. So our understanding of ourselves, yes, is perhaps different from the reality, or at least incomplete. Nevertheless, we evolved to take a role in the social system, to operate it continuously, to be consistent across time, so that we are responsible. We can anticipate in the future that if we do something bad today, if we lie or cheat or steal, a year, 10 years, 100 years, 100 years, into the future, people will remember this. And so we need to modify our behavior in the present. This kind of process is mostly absent in nature, anticipating how others will perceive you in the future and therefore changing your behavior today in order to create and sustain a reputation. But it's very important to what humans do. So somewhere between other animals and humans, this capacity emerged. And it's one of the set of things that enables us to function with selves in order to make these systems work, which are working very well. And biology measures success by how large is the population. The human population has really continued to rise very effectively century after century. So culture is a good strategy, but it depends on selves, on sharing information. Communication has receiver and sender. Communication, I think, is the fundamental human trait. So in that sense, yes, we evolved capacities that other creatures don't have in order to capitalize on these systems and the benefits that they bring.